Hello, Ray. Merry Christmas. Sorry about the whirring sound in the background, but it is 12 below zero here, so can't shut off all the heaters. Um, Here's a first demo of the forest sound. We talked about this being a good sound to start with, to work maybe forward and backwards from this sound to derive the other sounds of the show, because it seems to be sort of the transformational center. A lot of what you're talking about doing seems to come from here. We had talked about it being something not from any history that we know or any place that we know. So it should sound different. It should sound like some sort of outside place, but it should sound kind of different. We're not going to come up with a unique sound. Well, it will be unique, but it's not going to be completely noticeably, obviously something that no one has ever heard before, because so many sound designers have been making sounds like this to make mystical forests. It's going to be very hard to come up with something that no one has ever sort of heard something like that before. That's not our goal. Our goal is to make something different from what sort of reality of our world, so that we can tell that we're someplace else. And then something then too that we can work from that in some way or another relates to the themes of the show. Here is a sound of the forest, a possible sound for the forest. You can hear that it has sort of environmental hummy-tony things that are moving around. If you're listening on headphones, you'll hear some of the motion of the forest. You'll also hear later, as I work on it, more motion, because I want to accentuate this motion, and it'll be easier to create, easier and harder to create motion with multiple speakers in the theater, but I'm going to work on that to try and make it more sweeping and moving. The idea that I sort of have here is that this is the sound of the forest as it's just sitting there. My plan would be is that when human beings enter the forest, the sound kind of panics. I don't know, your experience of being out in forests or jungles or whatnot, but when human beings walk around, animals shut up, they move away, they keep away from the human beings. And I hope to be able to create that effect when the human characters enter the scene, that there's sort of like a panic of the sound, that it moves to a distance, quiets down, maybe gets more agitated. Now, the other thing that's interesting is how do we relate this to sort of the magic of Midsummer Night's Dream? How do we relate it to that this place is a transformative or different place? I don't know that we should necessarily worry about the sound being completely different for the human beings as for the magic. I think the magic is there. The transformative power is there. It's a question of being aware of it. So how do we hide the transformative power of the sound in the sound of the forest? One way to do it is to do what I've done, which is make a musical bed of sounds and then change their speed, slow them down a lot, speed them up a lot. This actually makes them sound like this. They sound sort of like crickets and whatnot. They're actually music bits. So the humans are in this forest. They're surrounded by the transformative magic of the forest. It's there, but they're not necessarily aware of it, because they're in some way they're out of sync or out of tune with it. The Puck and Oberon and Titania are all of this world, and so that they can hear the world, the same sounds that we're hearing right here can change and turn into the sounds that are actually there in the forest all the time. So that's actually the sound that's created by slowing down the speeds of the playback. And all the sounds that we were hearing in the forest are actually time change versions of these sounds, which are musical, almost orchestral sounds of a place that has perhaps the power to transform and to heal.